Happy Monday, guys. This is the first section of the text for the text The Dog Newspaper. This covers pages 543 and 545. I'm going to read the text and then explain some of the questions that you're going to be answering on EDSB today. So our standard of the day is describe how a narrator or speaker's point of view influences how events are described. So a story is always told from somebody's perspective or from the opinion of somebody else. And so when it's told from somebody's opinion or perspective, it does alter how the events are described. So we're going to be looking at how our character or our narrator's point of view and how that might be influencing how this story is told. So the title of our story is The Dog Newspaper, and it's a piece of a bigger text called 5 Pages a Day. This is just a small piece of a bigger story. It's written by Peg Carrot, and it's illustrated by Tim Jessel. I began my writing career at the age of 10 when I wrote and sold the Dog Newspaper. This weekly publication, which cost 5 cents a copy, reported on the local dogs. I interviewed every neighbor who had a dog. "What exciting thing has your dog done?" I asked. People responded, "All Fluffy does is eat, sleep, and bark at the mailman." Or, "Max's only excitement is his daily walk on the leash." Such answers did not lead to important news stories. I didn't give up. "If your dog could talk," I asked, "what do you think he would say?" "Feed me," was the most common answer, followed by "let's play." What could a writer do with such boring material? The solution sat at my feet, wagging his tail. The first issue of the Dog's Newspaper featured my dog, BJ, on the entire front page. Although his life at that time was as uneventful as the lives of the other neighborhood dogs, BJ had a unique background. So I'm going to stop reading here. I'm going to kind of think aloud for a moment. His dog is on the cover of the page, and he thinks his dog has a unique background. But since this is told from his perspective, and it's his dog, that might be influencing why his dog is in the first issue and why he thinks his dog has a unique background, because it's told from his perspective or his opinion. This also, I was trying to make a connection to myself in the story, and I was thinking about my own dog and maybe some things that my dog would say if I was asked what is an exciting thing my dog has done, or if my dog could talk, what would he say? So if you have a pet at home, maybe you should think to yourself, how might your pet answer these questions that our main character is asking other people in the neighborhood? Okay, I'm going to continue reading. Uncle Bill, my mother's younger brother, was a soldier in the U.S. Army during World War II. While in Germany, his unit went into a town that had recently been bombed. As they searched for survivors in a destroyed building, they came across a mother dog and her litter of puppies. The mother dog was dead. So were all the puppies except one. The soldiers, who had seen far too much of death and destruction, carefully lifted that little brown dog from his litter mates. One soldier tucked the puppy inside his jacket to keep him warm. The men fed him from their own food supplies, shared water from their canteens, and decided to keep him as the company mascot. From then on, wherever Uncle Bill and his comrades went, the dog went too. They named him BJ because he was a big job to take care of, especially when they were fighting a war. BJ grew bigger and stronger as he traveled with the soldiers, tagging along on every mission and somehow surviving even when the men were too busy to pay attention to him. As the soldiers fought to protect the free world, BJ did his duty too. He slept with them in foxholes, he trudged long miles across burned and barren land, he helped search rubble for signs of life. Most of all, he offered love and laughter to a group of lonely, weary men who were far from home. So these are the questions you will be answering on EDSB. The first question is, in the beginning of the story, what is the narrator's point of view about dogs? So what is the narrator, the person who's speaking in the story right now, what is their opinion or their perspective or their point of view about dogs? The second question, how does it affect the way the narrator describes what the dogs do? So how is it affecting how the narrator is writing or describing what dogs do? Think about all the questions that our speaker is asking the different people in the neighborhood about their pets. How is it impacting how he's describing them? The third question, What is the narrator's point of view about BJ? Remember, BJ is his dog. How does the narrator's point of view about BJ influence how the events are described in paragraph 1 on page 545? So that will be the second slide of text from this video. So how is our speaker's point of view about their dog impacting or influencing how the events are being described in that very first paragraph?